am good, thank you. The week's been great. Can't believe we're in September already.
Tell me,
How happened?
tell me about it. I have no idea. So the whole year just seems to have flown by, but here we are.
Here we are.
You've done some incredible stuff in the last couple of months, from what I hear, from Project Europe's events with Canva to a bunch of hackathons, or at least generalist workshops as well. Tell me all about it. What are you up to at Canva? Give me some intro and context to yourself and the company.
Yeah, sure. So I guess maybe to start off with me. So I have only been at Canva for 3 years. Well, actually, in Canva terms, that is a lifetime. Because it's still quite a young company. But I am part of a growth team. So I'm growth strategist here at Canva. And basically, my role is to see how Canva can have more of an impact on local markets, and notably the ones that I focus on are EMEA markets. And so a big part of my focus, and that's what you were just talking about before, is really seeing how we can empower small teams. So startups, scale ups, really seeing how through Canva as a tool, we can further help those teams, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. And so what does that end up looking like? Is it running paid ads, or is it actually getting on the ground and doing the work in and amongst the ecosystem?
Yeah, great question. So, to give you a little bit more context, before I joined Canva, I was leading up a marketing team. And so this is a story that I always tell. We were quite a small marketing team, limited resources, and Canva was life. That was literally our motto within my marketing team. And so whenever we were looking to do any content, whether that be white papers or stuff for events, etc., I'd tell the team, go and see if you can do it on Canva, and then, we'll look at other alternatives. And so when I got reached out to join Canva, I said, yeah, sure, I love the tool, and no need to put me through onboarding. I am a Canva pro. And what I discovered was that I wasn't. That I actually knew very little, not very little, but definitely not as much as I could have used, or my team could have used if I'd known. And so all that story to say that, and this was 3 years ago, right? The tools evolved. People don't realize how much they can actually do within Canva. And I think with smaller teams and startups, scale ups who have that resource, those resource limitations, time limitations, I honestly just wish that I knew. And so that's what I'm looking to do. It's more of an education piece for the time being. How can we help through hackathons, through training sessions, through programs, to educate people on how much they can actually do within Canva?
Is it very much focused for the startup ecosystem? And so businesses that want to use Canva, and so you are directly talking to them rather than kind of the everyday user that just wants to make an image asset and do that infamous background remover.
Yeah, I mean, Canva talks to everyone, right? But specifically, me in my role is looking at those startups, but also SMBs kind of as a separate type of segment.
Talk to me about what people don't realize. Obviously, like me and you have had a conversation offline. All of the show's assets are built in Canva, bar one
Mhm.
piece, right? And it's awesome that you can create all of that inside the product. Big fan. We're not sponsored by you guys yet, but maybe in the future. Um, but the point I'm making is like you can do so much. The decks that I make have started to be used in Canva. The assets, the upscaling, etc. It's not just a background remover tool anymore, is it?
It really isn't. And that's really what I'm trying to do is educate people around how much they can do within Canva. And to answer your question, um, you know, if I was a starter, for example, working on my first pitch deck or redoing my pitch deck, I would use Canva one to start brainstorming, like ideating, getting people on a whiteboard within Canva, thinking about those core
Hold on, you can
questions.
put people on a whiteboard in Canva.
There you go.
What? So like a mirror board almost, and you can
Yeah,
collaborate in real time.
yeah,
Since
yeah.
when?
Since I think about 2 years ago. Exactly.
What the
This is what I
hell?
mean. And this is the types of conversations I have all the time. So yeah, so you can jump on a whiteboard, start like ideating, putting some post-its together and thinking about like the whole why this, why us, why now. then you can transform that whiteboard into a structured doc, right? So I could transform that, and this is all through AI. You
Mhm.
transform that into an outline for your pitch. I can send that to you, download as a PDF, whatever. And then from that, I can start building my pitch deck within Canva. And I think the strength of Canva within presentations is, especially within pitch decks, is how can you create something that's visually appealing, that's not too heavy on text and things like that. And we've got millions of templates in Canva that you can use to do that. But then if I want to go further with my pitch deck, making it more engaging, I could be using Canva Go to create widgets. So, for example, ROI calculators embedded in my pitch decks, then investors could like play around with to see the return they'd get on their investment. Or if I want to make it a bit more interactive, record my demo video within Canva and add it to the pitch deck.
So it's like you've created the sexy version of the Google Suite, right? It's like, how can we make everything more interesting and more useful from the context of a design and creative POV, but actually provides the functionality that gets the job done for if I'm sending a pitch deck, if I need to know who's looked at it, if I'm doing the numbers in real time.
Yeah, exactly. I think what Canva helps you do essentially is create anything so that it's visually impactful, it's engaging, it tells the story visually, and it's all within one place. And I think there's a lot of different elements that people just might not know about.
What do you find difficult explaining to startups or explaining to these businesses and founders about like why use Canva instead of like a Notion or a Google as an example? I know it's got all the integrations in the world, but like what's the bottleneck that they find?
I mean, to be fair, a lot of people already adopt the tool. They just use it maybe for use cases that are quite limited. And I think it's less about people saying, no, we don't want to use it, but they don't know about everything they could be doing within there. I would say that's more of a pushback that I get is that people don't realize they would use it if they realized. And then the second piece that gets potentially a bit complicated with specifically smaller teams is a big value add that Canva brings is having a strong, consistent brand.
Mhm.
And sometimes, and a lot of times actually, quite frequently, people, and especially those teams, those smaller teams, don't always set brand as a priority, which I think is a mistake, but it is something that I've encountered
Why do
quite
they
frequently.
set brand as a priority?
Why should they or why don't they?
Why don't they set brand as a priority?
Well, I think it's kind of, in those stages, you can potentially spend a lot of time on the product itself or on different things. And brand is sometimes considered as a nice to have.
But in reality, it's actually providing a lot of the subconscious bias that you create, right? It's like, oh, I see the Canva colors. I know that that's Canva. Oh, I know that that's X as a company, right?
Exactly. And not just that, is that, you recognize that's how you get recognition is by having a strong, consistent brand. It's how exactly what you said, you build trust with potential customers, with investors. And so it is really crucial to, without going overboard, but to really focus on the core elements of a brand.
What what does Canva do well that most people don't realize? Aside from the brand, aside from the creative, obviously Miro boards have just is blowing my mind right now. Or Canva boards as we're probably calling is probably you're probably calling them. Like what else has it got in it that I probably don't know about that I should be using?
I think there's a lot I could say. The one thing I would focus on is just how much AI we've got weaved in, and so that it is really effortless for you, regardless of whether or not you're good at designing, for you to build content that's going to be visual and engaging. And one of the tools that I'm talking about quite a lot that few people know about is Sheets. Do you know about that one?
I haven't used it because
Okay.
a Notion guy or an Excel guy, but I have played around and it's like simplified version that is equally as powerful.
Well, actually, I would say, obviously I'm biased, but I would say it's more powerful because with Sheets, for example, it enables you to create, let's say, 20 pieces of content in like 5 seconds. And so it's just there's just tools like that and AI elements within Canva that help you do things at speed and in a way that looks great.
I like it. What do you like about the European ecosystem or the UK ecosystem as you're on the ground and you're talking to all of these startups? What do you like about it currently that's working for Canva being integrated into it?
Yeah, I think. I mean, as I said, I'm quite new into this role, so I won't pretend to be an expert. But I think what has really impressed me is, in this AI era, you hear a lot about um, scale and speed, like time, doing things more efficiently. But what I think has been really impressive to me is how the specific community of startups, of scale-ups, of founders how creative they get with the tools that are at their disposal. And you were talking about hackathons before, how impressive the results are out of a couple of hours or a couple of days, what you get from yeah, like with so little resources and so little time, the results that you get are pretty impressive. So I would say definitely the creativity side of things is very exciting, and also I think somewhere we like to partner with.
I like it, right? We met at the 11 Labs Project Europe event, and the output of those, what I think it was 2 hours that the
Yeah.
teams had, like the startups had to build launch videos for their products, or at least feature videos for their products. I was like, oh, okay, it's not really going to be that great. There's not a lot of you can do in that period of time. But when you pair up the two products together and actually give people the right space to do it in and like really go for it from a creative standpoint, I mean, I don't know about you. I thought some of these outputs were better than the stuff that's on the internet already. They're
Yeah,
equally as good as like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 pound launch video.
exactly. I mean, it was super impressive. And also, I think for me, the result of those videos were impressive, but also seeing what everyone was working on equally super impressive to see the creativity and how we've really specifically in London kind of stepped away, not stepped away, but it's not just fintech anymore. It's a lot more about impact, and so that's been very exciting for me.
Fun. Talk to me about community a little bit, right? Obviously, a big part of Canva playing at a grassroots level with all of these startups and getting them not hooked, but involved in using the product, right? Because if you get them at an early stage, they win. You win them over for a period of time, right? As they begin to scale, everyone uses the product. Notion has done it incredibly well. I'm sure you guys are doing it incredibly well as well. And what does it mean? What do you have to think about when you get in at such an early stage? Do you really have to like spoon feed people, or is it quite intuitive that you find it's like actually I don't have to tell you a lot. I just kind of have to showcase the new features and pull together these in-person events, these online videos, etc.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of it definitely I wouldn't say it's spoon feeding. I think it's more about it's definitely education for me, and there's two sides to that education. One is, as I was saying before, did you realize that you could do this on Canva? It's one tool, and it's a pretty cheap tool. I mean, it's a free
So what
tool.
is it like 12.99 or is it 15.99 a month if it's a personal one? And then it's like what? And then it's every seat is another 10.
Yeah, and I mean, it is also a free tool. Obviously, as a business, I would recommend using the paying tools, but it's how much can you actually do? How much return on that investment can you get within one tool? So there's one side, which is that. And then the second side of it, which is the brand aspect, which I was talking to you about. I think there's a lot of education to be done around brand and not just the importance of it, but how do you actually go about creating a brand? Because that's
Talk to me.
sometimes
How do we
people
create a
miss.
brand? Like what? Like when we look at take ventures as an example, right? It's red and black. We push for like a strong red vibe. I don't know what that means on the color spectrum, but when you look at that, what do you see?
Mhm. Um, I think I mean, that's it. There's like the colors and things like that. But it's a brand isn't that is like, it's at the end of the day, Ventures is you as well, right? It's how you show up in conversation, etc. But it's like, what does your brand, what is the identity of your brand? What are the values of your brand? And then how do you bring that to life visually? And how do you stay consistent in every touch point that you have with people with that brand? If that makes sense.
That does make sense. How do you do it though? Like at every touch point, is it just that the font's the same? Is it that the colors are the same? Or the colors represent the right part of the brand? Is it that the way that and the tone that you're speaking in is the same or at least adjacent to what it is that your values are? Or is it more than that?
No, yeah, it is all of the above. It's, first, as I said, like, what is the identity of your brand? Then what does that mean visually? What are the fonts that you use? What are the colors that you use? As you said, your tone of voice. How do you show up according to your values in every touch point? What are the types of visuals? Are you a kind of modern brand? Are you more like traditional? Like, how does that all show up visually?
What do
And
you
making
prefer? Do you like the sort of old school handwritey vibes, or do you like the modern sort of really thin lettering or fat lettering that's very stand out?
Yeah, I
Have
mean,
you got a personal favorite?
um, I don't think I have. I think it depends very much on the context. And depending on the brand, it's less about preference, but about the message that you're saying. I can't say that I have a specific favor between more like modern or kind of traditional brands.
What do you think of the Canvas, like Canva's logo and the way that they've designed that? Do you know exactly like why it is those colors and why it is that type font?
I mean, it's all about Canva is all about being playful, intuitive,
Okay.
fun. So all you can see it's like quite vibrant colors, the like the gradients, the fun written logo, everything that you'll see within our brand shouts like playful, creative, fun, a bit different, a bit quirky.
I've always enjoyed when I'm using Canva for a lot of the decks that I make, and in the past have used it for other things. The Canva Sans, just out the
Yeah,
box, like it defaults to it, right? And you don't expect it to, but you grow so used to it that
yeah.
you start looking at other fonts. You're like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Like, what is this font that I'm using outside of Canva? And I've had to go and import it into the other areas, into the other tools, because I prefer that one.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. I think the same's kind of happened to me as obviously we use it all the time. But yeah, I do like the Canva Sense.
Talk to me about the events that you're putting on, right? I saw the news around Canva Rise. Explain that to me a little bit. Is that just online tutorials that you're doing for the ecosystem, or is it workshops?
Yeah, so Canva Rise is very much in line with the education piece that I was just mentioning to you. And for the time being, we're kind of testing it out in London in person. So having groups of people coming to our offices and talking about those core growth topics. So whether that's around brand, whether that's around content that performs, things that we are topics that we're experts in, and we're kind of having those discussions, having the education piece. But also, so we've got those kind of sessions, and then the ones that I was talking about before. How can we actually help you use Canva? How can we have content production sprints where you come for an hour and a half in our offices and we help you build out your first couple of templates or the core elements of your brand and set up your brand kit. So that's what we're doing in person.
Do you find that those in-person events, I know that we're probably both biased, but like from the responses you get back internally, actually move the needle?
Yeah, I mean, that is the question, isn't it? Um, and I would say personally, like you say, I'm a bit biased as well, but I love in person. I think there's a lot more connection that we can build by being in person, but also I think there's that one-to-one possibility, like being right next to you as you build your thing, me being there as a Canva expert. I do think it has more of an impact, yes.
Do you think that in the future you're going to have like Canva certifications for people that like you are certified as a Canva expert, and you can go into companies and you can teach them how to use Canva? Or will it always come from Canva putting it on these events in the future?
Yeah, no, we are starting this kind of
Oh,
certification.
nice.
Yeah. So I think we'll definitely go in that direction because it makes it more scalable as well. And also what I've discovered by being at Canva is, for example, on TikTok, I'm constantly following Canva influencers. I'm not joking.
Hold on,
Because
there's like Canva talk.
yeah, exactly.
What the? I'm living under a rock.
No, honestly, I mean, anyway, it's a long story, but I discovered this, and that is the way that I educate myself on Canva as well, because people have such creative ways and different ways of using Canva. And so, to answer your question, not only about scalability, but also the potential to use Canva doesn't only sit within the Canva team, it sits with all the users.
I feel you. It makes a lot of sense, right? From a scale point of view, just to have like outsource, not outsource it, but sort of bring people into the fold of you are now an a Canva expert. You can go to town and teach the teams, etc. A lot of these other companies have these transformation people that come in and teach you how to use it. It's almost like Canva wants to build their own community of that so that startups and technology companies can leverage it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a cool product. Talk to me about how AI gets implemented in it. It's obviously the buzzword of the century, or at least it feels
Yeah.
like it right now. One of the things that I've noticed is that it sort of lagged behind when it came to integrating like the VO3 tools or the ChatGPT o4 product, the image models. Is there a reason for that, or are you guys just working on that in the background?
What do you mean
So
lagging
like
behind?
like how some tools have the ability to pull in the models, and so like an image model as an example, I want to create assets inside of Canva. Can I do that, or have I just not found the tab?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Maybe you haven't found it, but there's if you land on the home page, there's something called Canva AI, where you can create your own images, you can create your
And that
own
uses the latest models.
yeah,
Oh, great. Okay, let's just save me a chunk of time. So,
you
so
can create.
it's my own personal learning curve today.
I mean, this is the thing. There's just so much that you can do in Canva. Sometimes it's tricky to get the word out there. But for example, you were mentioning VO3, like a couple of days after it was launched, we had it integrated within Canva.
Insane. So like Nano Banana is an example that came out a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That will be in Canva within a couple of weeks from a release date.
I don't know about Nano Banana
But as an
specifically.
example,
Yes.
that's the likelihood. It's like if it comes out, we're integrating it into the product so that our users can use it.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Are you finding that people are using those features more and
Uh,
more?
yeah, I think kind of like you've proved today, there's sometimes an awareness piece, and when you've got a tool associated to a specific use case, it's sometimes hard to step out of that and educate yourself around the tool. But people, as soon as they're made aware of it, people will test those different functionalities. And as I said, like with the education and the kind of inspiration as to how you can leverage those different tools, then there's no reason not to use them.
When it comes to the writing, which is obviously the kind of the lowest fruit on the tree when it comes to using AI. So I can make a deck and I can generate all of the relevant copy using AI in sort of like improved writing section. I'm assuming that is again some of those newer models, your Open AIs, your Geminis, your Claudes. Can I tweak the prompt or the meta prompt so that it talks in a certain style
So on Canva directly.
on Canva directly?
Yeah. So if you let's take the example of the pitch deck, for example, and we're on a specific page on a specific slide of the pitch deck, and you're looking to change the text directly on there. You can click on the text. You have a little pop-up that comes up, which is Magic Write. There you can prompt the specific text that you want to appear within that slide deck. You can apply your brand voice, for example, that we were talking about before, etc. Does that answer your question?
That answers my question perfectly. So you can actually go in, build yourself a brand tone of voice, and then it's constantly making copy in line with that brand tone of voice.
Yes, and you can, yeah, exactly. You can use Magic Write to do that.
That is so cool, man. So
Yeah.
I've always end up jumping out and coming back in. So that's always been the workflow. But if I can access it inside of Canva, it actually just makes everyone's lives a little easier. Does it give you the ability to pick which models, or does it just do that itself?
It does that itself. However, we have also got integrations with ChatGPT and Claude, so that you have the connector directly to Canva, in which so you can use.
Just go straight in. I've used that in the past. Like I use the Claude one from time to sort of make assets. Like just make this, make it in Canva, use it like this. And I'm still working through what the workflow is, but it feels like the right thing almost, because it's Claude or OpenAI's GPT is the central location for where I'm operating. But then I just want to go and make an asset, and I don't want to jump out, but I want to have the control over the layering as an example, or the presentation as an example. And I found that in chat, or the chat functionality, you can't really do that very well, because it's not fluid enough. It's like I want to move that text there. But with Canva, it gives you the option to be like, here's the layers, go and pick this out. I thought foreground was like a generational feature versus background remover. It's like foreground remover. And I can remove the foreground and go for it instead of sorting, trying to shade it out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that works perfectly for you specifically, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's the name of the game. We're working on it. Megan, this has been an absolute blast. Like, where can they find you? When are the events going on for Canva Rise?
Yeah, so we're doing a couple of Canva Rise events a month. Follow me on LinkedIn, Megan Possamai. That's where I post all of the updates on those events and post the hub. And yeah, that's it, I think.
This has been an absolute blast. I'm looking forward to having you on again. We can chat more on Canva, and you can probably upskill me. We could just do a session on the show. Just be like, this is how you use it, Viraj.
Come to Canva Rise.
I will do. I'll have to. I'll come and see you guys.
You
Thanks
have
so
to.
much. I'll see you
Thank
soon.
you. Take care. Bye.
That was Megan on the show from Canva